In this video, I'll be going over a couple of pictures taken during my recent trip to Busan and go over my thought process with them, why I composed the photos as such, how I took the photo, and anything else I think could add some insight to the photo, such as the surrounding location, the type of situation I was in at the time, and so on. So let's jump right into them. Starting with the first picture that I took at Dongbaek Park of the Gwangang Bridge. Before I get more into the picture, I just want to talk about the settings as well as the camera and the gear that I used. So with this picture, I took with the Sony a7R5 as well as with the Sony 24-70 GM2 lens. I took it at 105mm at f/14, 1/20th of a second, and ISO 100. So some of you may be confused on how I got that 105mm with just a 24-70 lens. So with the setup, and I spoke about this with a couple of my older videos, you can take advantage of your full frame camera and dial in your APS-C crop mode so you can get more range, albeit you get less megapixels. You can get enough zoom and range to the point where you can basically make your lens. In my case, I made my 24-70 lens basically into a 24-105 lens, and that really let me capture this photo. So yeah, I was basically able to take this picture at 105mm with my camera with basically a max range of 70mm, but because of that APS-C crop mode, I was able to essentially make that focal length longer into basically a more telephoto type of shot, which is what I got here. So getting more into this photo, so for the time I was in Busan, which was in around late October or so, luckily I happened to be there while the sun was setting behind the Gwangang Bridge. Because of this, I was able to capture this photograph of the Gwangang Bridge as shown in this picture, with the sun setting right behind it. And that's obviously one of my favorite aspects of this photo, the sun being right there in the picture with the Gwangang Bridge. Another part of this image that I really like is being able to showcase the beautiful sun along with the Gwangang Bridge and basically not having the sun blow out the entire photo. And another reason why I'm glad that the sun wasn't forcing me to take basically a silhouette type of shot, because it wasn't blowing out my photo, was that I was able to retain the details of this photo. So you're able to basically see the details of the building still in the background, as well as the Gwangang Bridge itself. I have a couple of variations of this photo, starting with this one right here. So this is basically just a little bit zoomed out version of the picture that I just showed. And the reason why I didn't choose this one as my final, even though I really liked it a lot, you can still see a lot of the surrounding parts of the image, more of the sky, more of the rocks in the foreground, and just more things on the side such as the buildings and such. But the reasons why I didn't choose this photo is I didn't like this part on the bottom right. You can still see some of this patio, and I didn't think that really fit with the image. I'd rather it be the rocks. If it was just the rocks there instead of the patio, then I would have liked this image a lot more. But yeah, that part I wanted just to crop out, and that's what happened with the original photo, is that you don't see that patio on the bottom right. So that's with that variation. The other variation is right here. You can see that this is the more surrounding parts of the area that I was in, the location I was in. And I did like this photo. It's not bad or anything like that, but for me, the main subject was the Gwangang Bridge itself. And in order to showcase that more, which I was able to in the original file that I chose, the original picture that I chose, that just really shows more of the Gwangang Bridge. And if I could put this picture in like a set picture where I can show the entire story of this picture, then yeah, I would like this picture to go along with it, because you can see the surrounding areas and the surrounding places that I was in when I was taking this picture. But as a one standalone picture, one takeaway picture from this location, I think I like this picture better, the one with the Gwangang Bridge itself only. So the second picture I took at Cheongsapo, and this is of the Sky Capsule, famously known as one of the transportation systems that roam through Busan, well not Busan, but this particular village and a couple of other seaside locations within Busan. So before I get more into the picture, I want to talk about again the gear as well as the settings. So with this picture, I took with my Sony a7R5, I took with my 24-70 GM2, I took at 70mm, f6.3, shutter speed 1/2500th of a second, and ISO 320. So a little backstory, I went to Cheongsapo on 2 separate occasions, similar to Dongbaek Park, the last photo that I was talking about. And for this photo on this particular day, it was a pretty overcast day with the sun coming in and out, making the scene pretty unpredictable, which honestly makes shooting exciting for me because of the different scenarios it creates compared to, just a fully clear day or a fully overcast day. But anyways, getting back to this photo, on overcast days, I really like to edit the photos black and white. Using this picture as an example, I love the tone and a certain mood and just feeling that black and white brings to photos taken during overcast days. So speaking more about the composition of this photo right here, my goal was to try and get the sky capsule here as close to the center of this triangle as possible. And by triangle, I'm talking about the triangle made by this light pole right here, the rails the sky capsule goes on, and this electrical wire right here. Along with that, I also wanted to make sure the sky capsule was directly above this pole right here along the rail that the sky capsule goes on. Because of my surroundings with the houses to my left and my right, I wasn't really able to get this right in the middle, but I want to say this is as good as I was able to get it. Also, was one of my goals was I wanted to try and position the light pole right here, this portion of the light pole, right directly above the sky capsule right here. Sadly, I wasn't quite able to do that because, you know, again, I was very limited in terms of my space and my movement. And I think if those things were done better, or if they were even possible to, you know, achieve, then that would have made this photo way better for me. So again, as with most photos, I got multiple variations of this photo, including a colored, non-overcast day version when I actually went back to Cheongseokpo on a different day. And for the ones with similar composition, like this one right here, I didn't really like as much for a couple of reasons. Mostly because of the silhouette figures within the sky capsule itself. So with the black and white version right here, I really liked how you can visually see clearly the silhouette figures within the sky capsule. You can see that the figure on the left right here, you know, has his phone out. He's taking the picture, whether that's the picture of the other person in the sky capsule or a picture of the ocean behind him. But he's clearly taking a picture with, you know, some type of phone or, you know, his camera. Whereas the figure on the right here, you can see their figure very clearly. Compared to the colored version right here, I don't really know how many figures there are. So there are 2 figures on the right, I can assume at least, but on the left, like, is that a chair? Is that a person? I'm not really sure. And that kind of non-clarity right there is the reason why I preferred the other version compared to this version right here. So with the final shot, this was taken at Hongdae Beach, and this was a fishing part of the actual beach itself. And again, before I get more into the photo, let me talk about the gear and the settings. So this photo, again, I took it with my A7R5 and I took it with my 24-70 GM2. I took it at 50mm, f8, 1/2000th of a second, ISO 400. So again, with a little backstory of this location, Hongdae Beach is one of the more famous beaches in Busan, where you'll definitely be able to see a lot of people, you know, just chilling and relaxing by the beach. But there's a section of the beach where people just fish, and that's where I took this photo. So with this photo, the first thing I want to get into is the positioning of the subjects. So when I took this picture, I didn't particularly have an exact story in mind, but when I looked back at it after I, you know, took the photo and I edited it, I really like how this kind of hints at the person right here in the foreground is learning from these other fishermen right here and trying to apply basically what he's seeing to his own fishing. And this type of story in my head when I look at this image really just makes this photo more intriguing for me. So getting more into the lighting aspect of this photo, I shot this with a backlit, side-lit type of light with the sun coming from the right side of this picture. With lighting, I often try to shoot in a backlit, side-lit type of situation just because of how the lighting makes the scene look and how it makes it look more 3D because of how that light hits the scene. So when doing street photography, or honestly any type of photography, I always have this thought in my head of, you know, where the light source is, whether that's from the sun in the sky or from a random street lamp, you know, on the street. So with this photo, I just tried positioning myself so I can get that type of lighting on the scene. And luckily, I was able to do that in time to capture the shot. With this photo, one thing I wish I can change was I wish I was able to take a couple of steps further so I can include more of this man's fishing rod right here in the foreground. With this picture at a glance, you can easily assume this man is fishing just because of where he is, as well as his body positioning and so on and so forth. But you probably wouldn't be able to see his fishing rod right here just because it's cut off. And I want to make this photo as easy to understand as possible for the viewer. So in order to do that and to tell the story I have in my head with this picture, taking a couple of steps back to include his fishing rod would have been much better to do just that. Well, that's all for this video. I hope this was fun and give you some insight or inspiration for your own photos. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all next week. Later.